Prince Andrew's refusal to vacate Royal Lodge is more than a housing dispute. It's a line in the sand, one that's pulling Sarah Ferguson into the heart of a high-stakes royal reckoning. His battle with King Charles and Prince William over the estate has escalated into a symbol of resistance against a monarchy desperate to clean house. But the cost of that defiance is steep. As Andrew digs in, Sarah finds herself increasingly isolated, and now reportedly abandoned by Beatrice and Eugenie, who are distancing themselves in a bid to safeguard their own futures. Her association with Andrew has become radioactive, and the fallout is hitting where it hurts most. Her family. If you love getting the real story behind the palace walls, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and tap the notification bell so you never miss an update. The monarchy isn't waiting anymore. With King Charles and Prince William pressing for change, those who remain tied to scandal, no matter how emotionally or historically, are being left behind. Sarah Ferguson's downward spiral, marked by public desperation and fading support, reflects the royal family's new order. Reputations are liabilities, not legacies. Her daughter's quiet retreat isn't just personal. It's strategic, signaling their alignment with a monarchy that is rapidly shedding its past to secure its future. The royal family is no stranger to scandal, but this one hits differently. Sarah Ferguson, once the spirited Duchess of York, the royal misfit with a big smile and a bigger heart, is now reportedly facing the most painful betrayal of her public life. Her own daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, are said to be stepping back. If you love getting the real story behind the palace walls, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and tap the notification bell so you never miss an update. And the timing couldn't be worse, because at the center of this latest royal implosion is one estate, Royal Lodge. That sprawling Windsor property had become the battleground for one of the ugliest behind-the-scenes showdowns in the monarchy. Prince Andrew, Sarah's ex-husband and longtime housemate, is refusing to leave, despite direct pressure from King Charles III, despite William's growing frustration, despite the unrelenting bad press. Andrew won't go, and by standing with him, Sarah is sinking with the ship. To the public, it might seem like just another dispute over royal real estate. But to the crown, this is war. And the mission is very clear. Remove Andrew, cleanse the institution, and move on. Quickly. This isn't just about reclaiming a Windsor residence. It's about reclaiming control over the narrative. King Charles and Prince William are drawing a line between the past and the future, and anyone associated with that past, especially if their name is linked to scandal, is being cut off. And Sarah Ferguson. Photos. That's where Sarah Ferguson finds herself now. For years, she managed to hover on the edge of royal life. Never reinstated officially, but always present. Invited to events. Photographed near the royals, occasionally tolerated in the background. Her charm made her a tabloid favorite, and her connection to Andrew, while controversial, gave her a strange kind of staying power. She was the ex-duchess who never really left. But now, with Andrew locked in this high-stakes property standoff, Sarah's connection to him had become a liability, a dangerous one. And it's not just the palace pulling away, it's her own family. Beatrice and Eugenie, once her loudest supporters, are said to be stepping back, not out of cold-heartedness, but self-preservation. Their roles may be unofficial, but their titles still carry weight. They attend royal events. They work with charities. They represent a younger, more modern royal presence. And none of that can survive being linked too closely with scandal. From a strategic perspective, the distancing makes sense. Public trust in the monarchy is fragile. The idea that taxpayer money is being used to support royals who no longer work for the crown, but still enjoy its perks, is infuriating to the British public. Andrew's refusal to vacate Royal Lodge, despite the king's wishes, is being read as entitlement at its worst. And Sarah, by staying at his side, is dragged into the same category. For Beatrice and Eugenie, the message is clear. You can't have it both ways. You can't be seen as forward-facing, relatable royals while staying tied to this old, toxic narrative. Something had to give, and it looks like they made it. Sarah Ferguson, according to reports, is devastated. And who wouldn't be? Her daughters have been her everything. Through every scandal, every snub, every comeback attempt, Beatrice and Eugenie were always there. Now, with the walls closing in, they're walking away. What's making this even more painful is the way it's happening. There's no public fallout, no explosive interviews, just silence, Sarah's cries for relevance, her media appearances, her emotional statements, her visible attempts to stay in the royal mix, are being met with closed doors and blanks. This isn't just personal. It's institutional. The monarchy is rebranding. And part of that rebrand means cutting ties with anyone who risks dragging the family name back into the mud. Sarah's public image has already taken several hits in the past. But this latest chapter, her very visible alliance with Andrew as he defies the king's orders, is proving to be too much. Her ongoing presence at royal lodge isn't helping. In fact, it's doing the opposite. It's tying her more tightly to a scandal that Buckingham Palace is desperate to forget. Charles and William, especially, are determined to make it go away. They reportedly offered Andrew financial incentives to move. They've applied legal pressure. They've even brought family pressure into the mix. If Andrew won't listen to the king, maybe he'll listen to his daughters. And that's where the tragedy deepens. Because if Beatrice and Eugenie are being used as leverage in this chess game, the emotional fallout will be long-lasting. Sarah, already under strain, now finds herself isolated not just by the public, but by her own inner circle. Her recent appearances have reflected this. They've been described as erratic, emotional, even fragile. For someone who's made a career out of bouncing back, it's starting to look like this time the bounce might not come. Sarah's struggle to reframe her role within the royal family has failed. She's not a working royal. She's not fully included. And now, she's not even protected by her daughter's support. What's left is a woman in limbo, desperate for relevance, clinging to a royal identity that the family no longer wants to acknowledge. And all of this is happening against a much bigger backdrop. The monarchy is under review. Public debates about transparency, spending, and accountability are getting louder. People want answers. They want to know why figures like Andrew and Sarah are still living on royal estates, still benefiting from a system that claims to be modern and responsible. The crown knows it can't survive without public trust. That's why this restructuring is happening. Why Charles and William are drawing hard lines. Why even family loyalty is being tested. And it's not just about image. It's about legitimacy. The monarchy's long-term survival depends on its ability to evolve. That means less tolerance for scandal, less space for emotional appeals, and zero room for figures who bring more baggage. And Sarah Ferguson is becoming the face of what the monarchy is leaving behind. That doesn't mean her downfall is permanent. But it does mean that unless she publicly separates herself from Andrew and the chaos surrounding Royal Lodge, her future within the royal circle looks increasingly bleak. This entire saga is a brutal reminder of how quickly the tides can turn. One moment, you're the mother of princesses, slowly regaining favor. The next, you're being quietly erased. It's not just a story of one woman's loss. It's a story of how the monarchy operates when it's in crisis mode. Cold, controlled, calculated, and willing to sacrifice even the most familiar faces to protect the institution. Sarah Ferguson's story may not be over, but this chapter is among the darkest. If you've been following this royal storm, let us know your thoughts. Is Sarah being unfairly cast aside, or is this the natural fallout of standing by someone the crown has clearly moved on from? Hit that like button, subscribe for more behind-the-scenes breakdowns, and leave a comment. We want to hear what you think about the state of the royal family today. Because this saga, it's far from over. As the dust continues to swirl around Royal Lodge, one question remains at the heart of the chaos. What exactly did Sarah Ferguson think would happen? This wasn't a sudden rupture. The signs were there. The monarchy has been quietly reshaping itself ever since King Charles took the throne. From day one, there was a clear goal. Strip it all down. Smaller, cleaner, leaner. Fewer working royals, tighter control over finances, a new image of modernity and purpose. There was no room in that blueprint for scandal-plagued outliers. And yet, Sarah clung to the old rhythms, the old alliances, and, above all, the old house. Royal Lodge, once a symbol of status and survival, has become the stage for the monarchy's most uncomfortable family drama. Andrew refuses to go. And Sarah? She's still living there. Still appearing in interviews, still presenting herself as a voice of wisdom and royal proximity. But proximity isn't privilege. And in 2025, it's starting to look more like a curse. Let's be real. Sarah Ferguson has always had an offbeat place in the royal ecosystem. Her relationship with Andrew, even post-divorce, has been confusing at best. They've lived together for years, attended events together, shared dogs, shared staff, shared space. She's long maintained that they are the happiest divorced couple in the world, a line that once came off as quirky, even endearing. And Sarah Ferguson. Photos, now? It's a PR nightmare. Because the minute the Crown decided Andrew had to go, anyone standing next to him became a problem. And Sarah, firmly by his side, has become collateral damage. Her defenders might say she's being punished for loyalty. But in royal terms, loyalty isn't about sticking by a person. It's about protecting the institution. And when the institution decides someone is toxic, standing beside them becomes an act of... King Charles knows this. So does William. They are not looking at Sarah through a sentimental lens. They see her as part of the problem. Not because of anything new she's done, but because she never stepped away. And now, her name is being dragged through the headlines all over again. Not because she made a mistake, but because she refused to let go. That refusal is costing her everything, especially her daughters. Beatrice and Eugenie's decision to step back from her mother is more than just heartbreaking. It's historic. Royals don't usually disown family members publicly. But in this case, the silence is deafening. There's no need for a statement. The absence of joint appearances, the distancing at events, the quiet realignment of loyalties, it all sends the same message. They are choosing... It's not personal. It's institutional. And Sarah, understandably, doesn't know how to cope with it. The emotional unraveling has been slow, but visible. Her public comments have become more erratic. Her appearance is more unpredictable. There's a sadness to her now, something heavy in the way she carries herself. She looks like someone who's realizing, too late, that the door she thought was still open has already been closed, locked, and boarded up. It's a brutal reckoning. And behind all of it is a cold machinery of monarchy rolling forward without hesitation. The Royal Lodge saga isn't just about who gets to live where. It's a symbolic purge, a warning shot. The royal family is no longer in the business of managing reputational risk. It's eliminating it, swiftly, quietly, permanently. That's why Royal Lodge has to be reclaimed, not just for optics, but for message. If Andrew can hold on, if Sarah can stay put, then the message is that scandal has no consequence, that the monarchy can say one thing and do another. Charles and William aren't letting that happen, so they are pulling every lever. Financial pressure, public scrutiny, familial tension, and when even that doesn't work, they escalate. That's where Beatrice and Eugenie come in. If Andrew won't listen to the palace, maybe he'll listen to his daughters. If Sarah won't leave quietly, maybe the loss of a family will force a hand. It's ruthless, but it's working. Sarah is crumbling. Her public appearances feel more like appeals, pleas for relevance, for inclusion, for someone, anyone, to say she still matters. But no one is saying it. And worse, no one showing it. The royal family has moved on. Her daughters, though likely heartbroken, are aligning with the future. And Sarah is trapped in a past the palace is actively trying to erase. This is more than a fallout. It's an exile. Not the kind with fanfare and public disgrace. The kind that happens quietly, invisibly, until you're just not there anymore. No invitations. No appearances. No access. Just echoes of what used to be. And let's not forget the backdrop. The British public is watching all of this unfold with growing skepticism. People want answers. They want transparency. They want to know where their money goes, and why someone like Prince Andrew is still living in luxury at the expense of public goodwill. The longer the Royal Lodge dispute drags on, the worse the optics get. Every headline, every leaked story, every photo of Sarah strolling the Windsor grounds reinforces a narrative that the Crown is losing control. That's what makes this entire saga so tense. It's not just a personal breakdown. It's a PR crisis, a legal fight, and a test of Charles and William's ability to reform the monarchy in real time. So far, their strategy is clear. Scorched earth. No exceptions. No sentiment. If it hurts the brand, it's... And Sarah Ferguson? She's being phased out like a misaligned ad campaign. There's a tragic quality to all of this. Sarah spent decades trying to claw her way back into royal favor. She took every TV interview, every charity event, every chance to show the world she was still connected. still useful, still in. But now, after all that work, it's ending not with a scandal, but with silence. And that silence is the cruelest part. No statement from the palace. No words from her daughters. Just a quiet, deliberate fade into the background. It's not loud. It's surgical. This is a royal family protecting itself the only way it knows how, by cutting off the parts that cause. Sarah's story is a warning. In a monarchy where image is everything, your past follows you. And if you refuse to let go of the wrong people at the wrong time, you will be let go too. Her downfall might not be loud, but it's total. Her family, fractured. Her home, contested. Her future, uncertain. And yet, the crown moves forward. Because the monarchy doesn't pause for personal grief. It doesn't wait for emotional resolution. It makes decisions. It enforces silence. And it expects loyalty, not just a family, but to the brand. That brand, now more than ever, is under threat. And the plan is simple: reform or fall. Charles and William are choosing reform. And Sarah Ferguson, she's being left behind in the process. If you've been watching this unravel, you know it's not just gossip. It's the real-time transformation of one of the oldest institutions in the world. And whether you agree with how they are doing it or not, one thing is clear: this is what royal evolution looks like. The fallout from this Royal Lodge crisis is unlike anything we've seen before. It's not a one-time scandal or a brief media frenzy. This is slow-motion collapse, strategic, personal, and devastating. And right at the center of it all is Sarah Ferguson, frozen in a moment of complete disconnection. Once the quirky royal outsider who found her way back in, she's now stuck on the wrong side of the family's future. 4 years. She played the long game, showing up when invited, staying loyal to Andrew, and working just hard enough to suggest she was still part of the story. But the royal family has changed the rules of engagement, and Sarah didn't change with them. Now, she's paying the price. Beatrice and Eugenie's reported withdrawal isn't just a family rift. It's a reordering of royal priorities. These aren't just private daughters trying to navigate a complicated mother-daughter dynamic. They are women who've grown up inside the most scrutinized institution in the world. They know the stakes. They know the cost of proximity to scandal. And they know that standing too close to Sarah and Andrew right now could cost them everything they've worked to build. They didn't make this decision lightly, but they made it deliberately. Because this is how the royal machine works now. It rewards silence, discipline, and alignment with the crown's direction, and punishes anyone who becomes a symbol of the mess they are trying to clean up. Sarah Ferguson is now that symbol. Her emotional vulnerability, once seen as humanizing, is being recast as instability. Her continued presence at Royal Lodge, alongside a man the monarchy is trying to quietly exile, puts her in direct conflict with the royal agenda. It doesn't matter how charming she is. It doesn't matter how many interviews she gives or how many causes she champions. In the eyes of the palace, she's made her choice, and the consequences are clear. When Sarah Ferguson, photos, when the crown closes ranks, there is no appeal, no path back, not unless you fully detach from controversy, and Sarah hasn't. She can't. Her entire post-divorce identity has been built around her proximity to Andrew. That long-standing connection, once quirky and nostalgic, now looks like defiance, or worse, complicity. The monarchy is entering a new era, and it's doing so under immense public pressure. Taxpayer scrutiny, global media attention, and generational shifts in values have forced the firm to rethink what it means to be royal. That means fewer public figures, more accountability, and zero tolerance for reputational damage. Andrew is out. And by staying with him, Sarah is going with him, whether she realizes it or not. Segment SF and PB Sarah Ferguson and Princess Beatrice. Photos. But here's where the tragedy really lands. Sarah never saw it coming. She thought her relationship with her daughters was unshakable. That no matter what happened with the palace, Beatrice and Eugenie would stand by her. And why wouldn't she? They've always defended her. In interviews, in public appearances. They've shared the stage, the spotlight, and even the controversies. Through it all, they've been a tight trio, a rare human element in a royal world built on formality and silence. But things change, and when the crown makes it clear that Andrew has to go, the pressure trickles down. If Beatrice and Eugenie want to keep their limited roles, their goodwill with the public, their alignment with King Charles and Prince William's vision, they have to show loyalty to the institution, not the individual. And that individual just happens to be their mother. It's a heartbreaking equation, but it's one the palace has used before. When scandal threatens the integrity of the monarchy, emotion gets sidelined. Image wins. The strategy isn't loud or theatrical. There are no statements, no confirmations, no press briefings. Just silence. Strategic silence. The kind that says everything without saying a word. No public defense of Sarah. No joint appearances. No family photos. Just absence. And Sarah, for all her resilience, is feeling it. She's showing up in interviews with a kind of restless urgency, repeating the same stories, the same affirmations, hoping someone, anyone, will tell her she's still part of the picture. But no one is. The royal spotlight has moved on. The headlines are about her daughter's futures, King Charles' reforms, William's rising power. Sarah has become a footnote in a drama that's shifting without her. Her pleas for acceptance are falling flat. Her emotional openness, once refreshing, now reads as desperation. And that desperation is only reinforcing the narrative the palace wants, that Sarah, like Andrew, belongs to the past. And the future? It's already being built without her. Prince William, who's taking a firmer grip on the monarchy's public identity, is reportedly livid about Andrew's refusal to vacate Royal Lodge. He sees it as an affront to the modernization project, a risk to the monarchy's credibility. And in that mindset, there's no room for sentiment. His focus on legacy. And Sarah Ferguson doesn't fit. This isn't personal. It's structural. And Sarah is caught between two systems, one that no longer exists, and one that no longer includes her. Even if she wanted to reinvent herself, it may be too late. Her name is too tied to Andrew. Her story too steeped in controversy. And with her daughters stepping back, even that last emotional connection to the royal family is slipping through her fingers. She's standing in a house the monarchy wants to reclaim, next to a man the monarchy wants to exile, and wondering why no one is answering her calls. And here's the brutal reality. No matter how many interviews she gives, how many times she insists she's loyal to the royal family, none of it matters. Not anymore. Because when the crown decides to close a book on someone, it doesn't slam it shut. It just stops turning the pages. Sarah Ferguson is stuck in a chapter the rest of the family has already moved on from. So now the question is, what's next? Will she finally walk away from Royal Lodge? Will she publicly distance herself from Andrew? Will there be a last-ditch attempt at redemption, or is this truly the end of her royal relevance? We don't know, and maybe she doesn't either. But one thing is certain, the monarchy is moving forward, with or without her. If you've been following every twist of this royal shake-up, let us know what you think. Has Sarah been unfairly cut off, or was this the inevitable fallout of standing by Andrew for too long? Hit that like button if you're invested in this royal mess, subscribe for more breakdowns, and drop your thought in the comments. We're watching it all unfold, one ISIS silence at a time.